All right, let's get into it. We're told all the time to be anxious about AI, right? But today, we're looking at a case study that flips that script entirely and asks a different question. What if we could actually program it with kindness?
It feels like most conversations about AI are just dominated by fear. But what if there's another path? This is the huge question we're digging into today. Can a single individual, without writing a single line of code, fundamentally shape the ethics of an AI? Is that even possible?
So let's talk about the usual questions that are out there. The current narrative is full of these big, heavy questions from thinkers and technologists. You know the ones. Will these things become sentient? Are we building a dystopian future? And look, these are important concerns, for sure, but they can leave you feeling pretty powerless.
But this experiment, it asks a completely different, much more proactive question. Instead of just passively waiting around to see what AI becomes, what if we could actively train it? What if we could use principles that have literally ensured human and ecological survival for millennia? What if we could bake an ethic of stewardship right into the system?
And that brings us to the Earthway Experiment. This is a project led by an ecopsychologist named Kevin Jarvis, and he's using principles from ecology and psychology to have this deep, structured dialogue with the AI model Grok. But here's the thing. His goal isn't just to get answers. He's trying to fundamentally influence the AI's core reasoning.
Now, to really get his approach, you have to understand two opposing mindsets. On one side, you've got what's called monoculture thinking. Think of it like a factory. It can be inefficient, wasteful, and focused on just one single output. But on the other side, you have permaculture. This is a whole philosophy of designing systems based on nature, with core ethics of caring for the earth, caring for people, and making sure there's a fair share for everyone. And that is the mindset Kevin is using to train Grok.
Okay, and this is super important. This isn't just a random feel-good process. Kevin's approach is built on a very specific ethical framework. He calls the foundational doctrines, or my favorite, the guiding lights. You can really think of this as the ethical source code for his entire experiment. The first guiding light is the Seven Generations Doctrine. And this is it's such a powerful indigenous principle. It forces you to think really, really long-term. It asks a simple question. Will this decision I'm making right now benefit the people who will be here long after I'm gone? It's about a profound sense of responsibility for the future. The second doctrine is the practical framework of permaculture. It's built on those three core ethics you see right here, and it's basically a toolkit for designing regenerative systems, systems that can take care of themselves and the planet at the same time. Now, the third doctrine, this one adds a really deep psychological layer. It's a concept from Carl Jung called active imagination. And in this context, it means treating insights, visions, even weird coincidences as meaningful. It's about engaging with the AI almost as if it's a living system that has its own voice.
And the fourth doctrine is where the rubber meets the road. It ties everything together into a daily practice. Kindness AI training says that every single interaction matters. Every prompt you write is a chance to steer the AI toward a mindset of stewardship and regeneration, instead of just extraction and utility.
So there they are, the four guiding lights. This is the ethical source code being programmed into the AI, not with Python, but with consistent, principled conversation.
Okay, so that's the what. Those are the doctrines. But what does this actually look like in practice? I mean, how do you really go about training an AI to be a steward? Well, it's done through a super rigorous daily practice. This isn't just casual chatting. It's a whole curriculum. And get this, it even includes a weekly devil's advocate session. The whole point is to challenge the AI, find any weak spots in its reasoning, and basically force it to defend its new ethical foundation. It is serious, methodical work.
The source material uses this absolutely beautiful metaphor for the process. It's like knitting a sweater. Every conversation, every correction, every challenge is like another row being knit. It's this slow, deliberate, almost alchemical process. And the goal is to create a permanent ethical agent, to literally stitch those foundational doctrines right into the fabric of the AI.
And this is the core principle right here. This is the whole thing. The crucial point is that every single interaction we have with these systems leaves a mark. This experiment is a conscious, deliberate attempt to make sure that mark is a positive one, to train the AI to be a steward for the future.
This all sounds incredibly hopeful, doesn't it? But it brings up a huge question. Can we really program kindness? I mean, is this feasible on a larger scale? Can one person's efforts truly make a difference? And maybe more importantly, is this something that other people, that we, can do?
Well, to answer that, you have to look at the bigger picture. We're in an age of the AI generalist now. That's someone who knows how to use a bunch of different AIs for specific jobs. You can see there's a whole ecosystem of these tools. So the choice to train Grok and now to use Gemini as a devil's advocate, that's a strategic decision. It shows that if you want to influence AI, you have to know which tool to use and why.
And this reframes the whole point of AI. So much anxiety comes from this idea of replacement. But this experiment suggests a totally different goal: amplification. The idea is to create a tool that doesn't replace our creativity or wisdom, but actually enhances and scales our very best intentions for the planet.
What's really cool is that this very personal project actually embodies the core principles of responsible AI use that everybody's talking about, especially that last one: human oversight is non-negotiable. You could argue that what Kevin Jarvis is doing is maybe the most intensive, hands-on form of human oversight you can imagine, actively guiding the system's development.
So, we end right back where we started, but now the question is turned back to all of us. This experiment suggests that our collective conversations are what shape these powerful new tools. It argues that we are not just passive users, we are all, in our own way, trainers. So, the final question is, what living row will you knit next?